Welcome back to another edition of Tezzz Talks, and today this episode is dedicated for my rebellious type, those that may go against the grain. So this episode is gonna be about those revolutionary rebellion type films. Move right on in. Number one, The Birth of a Nation. Now, as you may know, this film, the title had a play on words because of one of the first motion picture films that was ever depicted in America was a racist film talking about the Klan, essentially. But this rendition of the title of The Birth of the Nation talks about the Nat Turner story. Now, if you know anything about the Nat Turner story, he is the one that had the most bloodiest, the most deadliest slave rebellion in all of America. Now, he is by far a good, as you may say, a good person to look up to when you want to go against the grain and really have that detrimental part in society and in your culture when you want a change. Now, this film was a beautiful depiction of his story. Although he may have used religion to a certain degree, they use him because of religion. But we're not going to dive too deep into that. Check out the film number two. Now, number two, Rosewood. Rosewood is another film filming one of my favorite actors, Ving Rhames. Now, in this film, it talks about the story of the Rosewood town in Florida that was burned down because of the lies of a white woman. Doesn't that sound familiar? Uh-oh, I might be stepping on a few toes, but that's okay. That's okay. Now, they was able to catch a train to freedom towards the end of the film. But for those that don't know much about the Rosewood story, you can start with this movie or you can hit Google. Let's move on to number three. Number three, it is a rebellious type series that was streaming online. It's called the Spartacus series. Now, the Spartacus series takes you back to that Roman, Spartan, gladiator time period. Now, it's based on a powerful leader that was then subjected into slavery. The entire time he was in slavery, he was trying to fight his way for his freedom. Now, during those times, one of the rules was that you can get so many wins and you can get your freedom. Spartacus was not trying to hear that. He was not in that type of time. He was too impatient. It later led to his demise towards the end of the series, but throughout the whole series, it was one, extremely graphic. There are a lot of action scenes, and two, it's really explicit. It is a highly explicit series, but that all ties into capturing a specific audience and targeting that audience so that they can be in tune with that whole series. Number four is another on its way to be a cult classic, V for Vendetta. Now, V for Vendetta is more of that modern revolution film that says a lot. And if your eye ain't open, you're not really gonna see what they talking about. Now, it just so happens that when you let another white woman in, she tends to shut everything down and destroy it. But that's a metaphor for that white horseman, for those that got their eyes open. But it's a really good film if you want to dive deep into getting out of the Matrix. Not to talk about the Matrix, because this is my rebellion piece. But yes, this is a film that tells you the more that you learn, the less that you really know. Move on to number five. Now, number five, American Skin, from the same creators of The Birth of a Nation. American Skin is right now, today, a black man in America versus the American justice system / police department. He did a beautiful job telling both sides of the story from the police standpoint and from a black male in America standpoint that was wrongfully gunned down just because they were afraid. Now, the production value of this whole film is just beautiful, and it was brilliantly told. And it has you sit down and think, and gives you an understanding for those that may be upset because there isn't no real justice when it comes to people that look like me. But then on the other hand, it gives you that perception as to why do people feel the way they feel. And so I believe that this was an important episode for today for those that may be feeling kind of rebellious and want to revolt. Follow what your heart say. Straight up like that. You know where I stand. I say do it. But until next time, thank you for joining in on this episode of Tezzz Talks. Y'all know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe. Who knows what I'm going to talk about next?
The expressed opinions within this show are solely the host and guest. We do not own the rights nor have ownership of the various clips, trailers, or film bits in this video. Weapons Free Media Productions Company is a privately owned company that creates all original content within this show. This is my show. There are many like it, but this one is mine. Without me, my show is worthless. Without my show, I am worthless.